and good morning to everybody. You know, normally when you are in a setting like this where there's going to be multiple speakers, you quite often ask the question, well, who am I going to follow? Well, I failed to ask that question this time, and I found out that I was following the Lieutenant Governor, who was also following the Speaker of the House. I don't know what I did to be put in a situation like that, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Again, good morning and welcome to MEC. You know, I'm not an elected official, but as Scott says, I am this year's chair of MEC, and it's an honor for me to represent all of you, all of the business community here in Mississippi in this role. And it's good for us to be here at Hobnob because, as the speaker mentioned earlier, it's kind of hard to hobnob virtually. Hobnob is when you get together, you shake hands, you meet new people, you network, you exchange business cards. You can really only do that when you come together physically in a setting like this. So it's very special for you to be here because if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have an event. It gives us a chance to hear from our state leaders and learn what's going on down at our Capitol. And you'll hear in just a few minutes something a little special that we're doing this year. We're bringing someone in who's going to talk about some national issues and how those issues might affect the business community here in Mississippi. You know, as the voice of business in Mississippi, MEC, we believe we continue to be an organization that's making a meaningful difference. We not only identify issues, but we also advocate for solutions to improve Mississippi's economic competitiveness. Everything we do at MEC builds on the founding principles that were established more than 70 years ago, and they are to build coalitions, to focus on fairness and equality, and to speak with a united business front. Now, back in June, MEC adopted a strategic plan, and that plan is aimed at securing Mississippi's future. Scott pointed you to the banner we've got down there, and that plan was developed using the four long-standing pillars that we have here in MEC: advocacy, research, resources, and leadership. And we're already putting that plan into action. Matter of fact, we began back in July. We took a different approach to this year's MEC tour. Many of you are familiar with it. Each year, thanks to the sponsorship of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi, MEC travels to all regions of the state. And we meet with our members as well as community leaders to identify issues that are important to growing our state's economy. And what made this year different was that we listened more than we talked. That's right. We conducted 51 small group listening sessions in 18 different communities around the state. And no issue was off limits. And while we're still working on the final report on that, I'm going to give you a couple of the hot topics that were discussed as we went around the state. Now, one of them had to do with addressing the stigma surrounding students who choose not to attend a four-year college. Now, all of you know we have some of the best colleges and universities here in Mississippi that you'll find anywhere. And if you're looking for a quality education, you can get that right here in Mississippi. But what you also know is that we have, in my opinion, the best community college system that you'll find anywhere in the world. And those community colleges are teaching skills that fuel Mississippi's workforce with high-tech and high-paying jobs. One of the other topics was improving transportation, not just for the roads and bridges, but also public transportation. Another, developing cohesive communication efforts that will match workforce training with open or potentially open job opportunities. Promoting our state by telling Mississippi's quality of place story in a manner that everyone understands and appreciates the goodness of our state. That's one of the issues that I think that we have not done a very good job of is promoting ourselves. The Lieutenant Governor talked about, you know, when we go outside the state and we meet people, they just don't understand how hospitable we are here in Mississippi. But we have so many resources here that we can draw from that would move our state to another level. And then also focusing on how adequate health care and adequate child care can eliminate a lot of workforce issues. Now, this information, we've gathered it, and it's going to allow us to align it with the issues that are 5 priorities that we have here in MEC. Those 5 priorities, number 1 is education, workforce development, and skill training. Number 2 is talent retention and attraction. one of those issues where most folks call it the brain drain. We've got to find out a way to hold on to our population. Third is infrastructure. Fourth is economic development and the business climate. And then also access to adequate and affordable health care. Now, we'll release our report in early 2022, and it'll allow us to provide some recommendations that will develop a vision that puts Mississippi and its citizens in the best place. Now, we know none of this is ever easy, but you also know that MEC does not shy away from any issues. We stand ready to work with our leadership at the state capitol, our lieutenant governor, our speaker of the House, and our governor, as we find effective ways to grow our state's economy. We want to make sure that we can improve the quality of life for all of our citizens, because if we're going to ever move the needle, then MEC must be an organization where everybody has a seat at the table. I personally believe that Mississippi is its best when we come together, we have a dialogue, and we come together to develop some solutions for our problems. By developing partnerships and working together and building a consensus that leads to a more prosperous future for all of our Mississippians. Thank you again for being here. Looking forward to working with you the rest of my tenure in this position, and exchange some business cards, shake some hands, hobnob, have a good time. Thank you for what you do for MEC.